Hello YouTube, this is Wisps and Whimsy, and you are watching Starting Out Solitary. Our topic this week is dating while pagan. So we're coming off of Sex Magic Week, and now we're talking about dating while pagan. I think we can safely say that love is in the air this February on Starting Out Solitary. I do have a small disclaimer. I was not pagan while I was dating, so I'm going to draw on my dating experiences and then just add in my thoughts about how being pagan can affect that. Now, we've already talked a little bit about this week. As far as if it's not a serious relationship, your spirituality or status of belief is probably not an issue for that relationship. I'm trying to think back on my dating days, and except for when I was dating my now husband, I don't think spirituality really came into it for most of those relationships. And when it did, it was a very minor thing. So if you are out as a pagan, it probably isn't as much of an issue for you, even when you do get into those more in-depth conversations, because, I'm going to assume that you're more comfortable with talking about it than someone who's in the broom closet would be. Obviously, there are some people who have attitudes and stereotypes that you're going to have to deal with, but I think in many cases you can say that that simply is a difficulty that you might have run into with anything else in your relationship, and maybe that person simply isn't the right person for you. I would think that the greatest difficulty would come when you are in the broom closet. And obviously I am, so that is what my mind immediately goes to, is if I were dating right now, it would be very difficult for me, because even if you are waiting until you're in a more committed relationship, or a relationship that you see becoming committed, and you want to open up and you want to, show your true self to this person so that you can connect, it's a lot harder when you're not comfortable doing that. Because what happens if things don't work out, or if this person shares that information with their family members or friends in your circle, things like that, where you're concerned that, obviously you're trying to protect your beliefs and your identity, and it really makes you more vulnerable. And I think that kind of relationship, any relationship, you have to reach a point where you do become vulnerable, and you have to trust the other person to, appreciate and respect that vulnerability on your part. So it really is going to be a balancing act of deciding when you are ready to share that information and when you are ready to trust that person. I think it would probably be easier to feel out where the person stands if someone is pretty strongly anti-pagan, anti-New Age, anti-witch. It's going to come through. You could possibly bring up certain topics that skirt the issue just to feel them out and see where they stand on things. And if they're obviously going to be very negative about it, that's probably not the person for you. And as far as having the actual discussion, I think it really depends on your personality. Some people might want to introduce it with a joke. Some people may feel more comfortable just kind of saying, something off the cuff about being nature-based or something, and just kind of let that lead into it. So that really depends on you. But I would definitely say don't hold off too long, because if the longer it goes, the harder it is to introduce that comfortably, because it becomes a big issue that you've been hiding instead of something that simply hadn't come up yet. And like Tara said at the beginning of the week, I would definitely recommend honesty, because if you are building a committed relationship, honesty is one of the foundation blocks of that relationship. And if you don't have that, everything else can come into question later. So those are my thoughts, and I hope that you are having a good end towards your week, and I will talk to you all later. Blessings.